Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Today we got a topic that I don't talk about too often, but it's still near and dear to my heart, and that is boxing. So fight fans, if you're ready, listen up. But before we get to that, you know what we got to do. Go ahead, please, if you haven't already, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell so you know when new episodes are coming out. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, we're pretty much anywhere you get your audio podcast. Type in the Format Podcast, search us, and we should come up. Make sure you leave us a comment. Make sure you reach out on YouTube if you want to. Definitely love the interaction. The comments help us rise in the algorithm. Also, please help us to get that 5-star review. Thanks so much. All right, let's get back to it. So some definitely interesting notes on the boxing front. Seems like a deal has pretty much been reached between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for the heavyweight championship of the world. That should be a good one. Obviously, we know Anthony Joshua is coming off back-to-back losses against Alexander Usyk. Probably just a bad matchup for him in terms of styles. We always hear styles make fights. That just may not have been the matchup for him. He got outboxed both times by a better boxer, although in the second fight, it was actually a better showing. Now, he's going to have to deal with Tyson Fury, who called him out, coincidentally, who wanted that fight. Hopefully it comes to fruition. If it does, that just shows that boxing is doing a better job of giving the fans the fights that they want to see. Second big fight that looks like it's nearly done, and again, hopefully we see this one. That would be for all the welterweight marbles, Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford. Best fight, pretty much non-heavyweight that can be made in the sport right now. So definitely looking forward to seeing that one. But the focus on today's episode, of course, is Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G Gennady Golovkin for the third time. We would call this a rubber match, but technically a rubber match is if the fighters split the first two. Now, the first two obviously were not without controversy. You had most people think Triple G won the very first fight against Canelo, and that one was a controversial draw, which was crazy. I saw the fight. I thought Triple G won. Now, I will say, full admittance, I am a Triple G fan, and I felt like Canelo was taking his time getting to fighting that fight. Triple G wanted him for a while, but when it happened, I felt like Canelo spent most of that fight fighting off the back foot. Now, there's some technical savvy to that and strategic skill involved there. It's not like he got beat down, but I think most people who know boxing who saw that would say that was a clear win for Triple G. But again, turned out to be a draw. Triple G leaves with his belts. Now, they do an immediate rematch. Canelo is more aggressive in that second fight. However, I think it's 8 of the 12 round. Triple G outlanded him. And most people would say if there was a fight that was to be a draw, that was the fight that should have been a draw, the second one. But somehow the judges give Canelo the decision. Oddly enough, Canelo has gotten some interesting decisions in Las Vegas, and the third fight again is in Las Vegas. But anyway, so Canelo gets the win in the rematch, and Triple G takes the first and only loss of his career. Now, Triple G obviously wanted the immediate rubber match, the third one, but Canelo said he had no more interest in fighting. And quick note, one of the interesting things about that second fight was prior to the fight, Canelo tested positive for clenbuterol, which is a banned substance. I'm not going to call it juicing, but he tested positive. He popped for something that he shouldn't have had in his system, which is very interesting. Now, he doesn't like Triple G because Triple G effectively called him dirty. I don't know why not. You popped for something, right? Now, here's the interesting thing about it. Canelo hadn't trained in Mexico for quite some time, but he goes down to Mexico and he's training in an area where other professional athletes have popped for eating quote unquote tainted meat while training down there, right? He hadn't trained down there. All of a sudden he goes down there to train for this Triple G fight and he pops dirty. So the fight ended up getting postponed. I think he got suspended like 6 months from Nevada athletic, I can't remember what you call them, but basically the determining body of Nevada State Athletics. They suspended him 6 months. The fight got pushed back. So they end up fighting, and Triple G ends up losing. Now, I'm not saying that Triple G made an excuse out of that, but he clearly wasn't happy with the fact that he's never popped in his entire career. Canelo pops, And well, you know the rest. So anyway, Triple G says he wants the third fight. Canelo says he's not interested in that, and he goes on and clears out the super middleweight division, wins that title, which he still holds undisputed, then goes up to light heavy, wins that title, and then after 4 years he fights Dimitri Bivol, gets thoroughly outboxed, outclassed, and he's got the second loss on his resume. All of a sudden he wants to come back down now to 168 super middle, and now he wants the Triple G fight, which I find interesting. Here's my commentary on that. It looked to me, I could be wrong, like he always knew that he was going to take that third Triple G fight, because obviously it was a huge money fight. Now, although it's 4 years too late, later than fans would have wanted it, and probably will bring in less money than it would have had it happened immediately after the second, it's still going to bring in a tremendous amount of money. It's probably going to do over 1 million pay-per-view buys. Obviously, he's going to sell out the T-Mobile Arena, all that good stuff, right? But I don't like the fact that Canelo knew that he would eventually take that fight again, but he waited all this time. Now, why do I think he waited all that time? I think he took a page out of Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s book and manipulated his circumstances. Triple G was already older than him. He knows that Triple G is not going to turn down that fight, number one, for the legacy value of it, whatever animus he says he doesn't feel. Triple G says he doesn't feel any animus, and that it's not personal. But if you ask me, I believe he still has some animus to Canelo, for Canelo giving him his first loss, Canelo popping during the training for that fight, and all that good stuff, right? But yeah, Canelo knew that Triple G was never going to turn down a $20 million plus payday to fight him again, right? So he waits the 4 years. We know that Triple G is considerably away from his prime. He is not the same fighter. His reflexes aren't the same. His movement isn't the same. His power may be the same, but do we know that he's able to carry that power the same way at 168 versus Canelo, who is very comfortable and almost a natural 168 guy at this point? Don't know. We know that Canelo has been able to stand up to Triple G's power at 160 in the first two fights, but now in this one at 168, is Triple G going to be able to bring it the same way? And even if he does have the same power, carrying those extra 8 pounds, he's going to lose some speed. So I don't know how he could have gotten faster in training for this fight. Obviously, he's older, he's carrying more weight, and that carrying more weight may also affect his endurance. Now, we know that he's going to have trained hard for this fight and everything, but he's not used to fighting a fight carrying that much weight. He's been 160 his whole career. But again, couldn't turn down that money. Again, brilliant business move by Canelo. Although, if you ask me, in my personal opinion, and I know that as an objective journalist, you know, name calling is not what we want to do. I think that was a cowardly move by Canelo. I really do. Smart business wise, cowardly in terms of, you know, the warrior ethos. So everyone gives Canelo credit, and I guess to some extent you should, for having sought out the quote-unquote biggest fights, having fought across multiple weight classes and winning all these championships. And yes, he is a tremendous fighter, and I give him all that credit. I just don't like the way he handled this Triple G thing, because I knew that at the end of the day, he was always going to want to come back and get that money. And I knew that he knew that Triple G was not going to turn away that type of money, but manipulating the circumstances to wait until Triple G got older. What's this reminiscent of? Floyd Mayweather Jr. manipulating the circumstances and waiting until 5 years past Manny Pacquiao's prime to make that fight? Manipulating the circumstances, right? I don't like when guys do that. Number one, it's not fair to the fans. Number two, it's not warrior spirit, right? Warrior spirit should want to be the best against the best when both guys are at their best. But so be it. What we have tonight is the fight between Triple G and Canelo, the third time around. I don't think Triple G can win this simply because he's far past his prime. He's carrying more weight. We don't know if his power is going to translate at 168. And we don't know if he's going to be able to stand up to Canelo's power at 168. Triple G, I don't think he's ever been knocked out in his career. Clearly, he's never been knocked out. He lost that one split decision loss against Canelo in the second fight. But again, that was at 160. So a lot of things going in Canelo's favor. But you can never count out what animus and internal rage and internal fire will do for someone in a gladiator sport. So tonight, we'll see. Again, I think Canelo wins this one probably by decision. I don't think he's going to stop him. But I just don't think Triple G at this point in his career has what he once had. And it's unfortunate because this is probably a legacy defining fight for both guys. And when it comes down to it, history is going to look at this fight, and I doubt anyone is going to remember, even though they're going to see the gap on the timestamp in terms of the second fight and the third fight. But I don't think anyone's going to remember the situation and how Canelo manipulated it in order to make Triple G wait 4 more years and get older and weigh more and be past his prime for that rubber match. So those are my thoughts on it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Appreciate you checking in, and I'm out. Peace.